going on, guys? I might sneeze. I don't. I feel a sneeze coming on. I don't feel like stopping and starting over again. I'm just gonna go with it. All right. So I burped instead. So, ah, oh my tummy. Ah, dude, I've been like working out. Oh man, I don't want to get into it. I'm sore. Okay, so this might be the last video on this channel until I get suspended again or whatever. Uh, Tomorrow, supposedly, I might get my other channel back. We'll see. In case I do, I'll make one more on this channel or whatever. So the one I made in the morning, it was kind of just hectic or whatever. I just threw it out there. I gotta say, look, guys, my AC was busted. It was hotter inside than it was outside. Like, it was hotter inside than it was outside because the AC was busted and the hot water loop was turned on. So I just had all this hot water flowing through here. It was retarded. I'm glad I got it fixed. Anyways, so I just want to go. I'm not going to say their name. They didn't ask me not to say their name, but I'm going to go ahead and not say their name because I'm assuming they don't want people to know. But I just want to reiterate that, look, a lot of people keep telling me about how I'm some kind of like beacon of anti-wokeness and cybersecurity. Sure, whatever. I don't give a shit. If I'm being totally honest, like I pivoted into cyber from HVAC when it became SCADA, and I'm amazed at the amount of shit I could get done in 10 years in the field and all these experts in the field who apparently have been like, a lot of these experts, really it's like their parents had some bullshit job at Apple. So, they think they're tough shit because their dad had a job at Apple or some shit like that, right? It's horseshit. It reminds me of like that time when I got into an argument with someone who was like, oh, I've worked at Cisco for 20 years and Cisco. And I was like, Cisco gets hacked all the time, right? And they're like, huh? And I was like, you can just make all your shit in Python and do all your routing in Python. They're like, huh? And then I was like, oh, by the way, did you know that after Cisco got hacked, they basically made an extension that was Python to fix Cisco? And then it's retarded. So like, just because you know someone who did something 20 years ago doesn't mean shit in this world. I don't know how else to say it, but so yeah. I got talking to some people today, and they basically told me that everyone who is in InfoSec, who is like a self-made millionaire, which basically means the bug bounty people and the business people and the CEOs, like the ones who start their own companies, they're all sick of the woke shit, and they all more or less think that they know the election was stolen, and they know that the votes were switched, and they know that with digital forensics you can prove all this shit. And they really are. They were like, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they're like, yeah, everyone else in the field is stupid. And I kind of went on a rant, and I hope I didn't chase them away, but I went on a rant about how like Saqqara in Egypt, and like the lights and using fermentation to create electricity, to create anti-gravity and all that bullshit. But what it comes down to, there's always going to be a priest class. They're the ones who control the technology. There's always going to be the sheeple class, the peons. They're the ones who just do the technology, right? All these woke assholes, why do you think they focus so much more? Like dude, like there's a, look, I don't feel like pulling it up right now and like showing everyone, but there's a black hat, whatever, and they have, like, this is the thing. If people did wokeness to them, they wouldn't like it. They have like a white blonde girl who doesn't look pretty at all, but that's not the point. And they're like, black hat, blah, blah, trying to be woke. You know how easy it would be to be like, oh, you're colonizers because you have a white woman. Oh, she's only obese. Why isn't she morbidly obese? You're fat phobic. It would be too easy to go on all that bullshit. And that's why you don't do woke bullshit. No one, it used to be, back in the day, it used to be that, you just had people who excelled. And if you happened to be a woman who was the best at it, then you were the woman who was the best at it. You weren't, then you were just the best at it and you happened to be a woman. It wasn't like, let's go find the woman to be the best. Let's go find the minority to be the best. You just were the best. What happened to that? What happened to individuality? Anyways, so I just want to reiterate that if there's people that I unfollowed or whatever. Like, I'm not sure if you're still following me or not. You can if you want to. I'm not probably going to follow you back. But what it is like, I have nothing against you guys. I'm fighting back against the wokeness. I know that a lot of you have told me that you have to go along with it because you don't want to get canceled. And I understand it's your business and whatnot, but it's not my business. And I don't want to be around that shit. So maybe if enough people see, people walking away from all that horseshit, maybe they'll hop too. And that's the thing. Like, I'm like a lot of people who are like super woke and like, oh, look at me change my gender. They're the ones who do like the basic shit. They're the ones who need someone else to do their shit for them and put my name on it, please. They don't actually do their shit. Like, you can say whatever you want to say about me, but how did I make $1 million? Well, $500,000 in theta right now. If you count my silver and my paychecks and all that bullshit and my 401k, I'm a millionaire, right? I'm not cashing any of that shit out, but if I need to in a pinch, right? So how did I get all that shit? Cybersecurity. So if you're an expert, how come you're making less than me and you don't know how to spend your money correctly? Like, they literally just buy a new monitor every day. They're fucking stupid. They have no idea how to recycle their own gear. Anyways, so then that got started talking about, and then we pivoted to like the World Economic Forum and how they're planning all these staged cyber attacks. And look, like, there's the writing's on the wall. Like, that Klaus Schwab conehead motherfucker, he is literally trying, like, the pandemic failed. So now they're trying to shut down all the gas plants and all the meat plants. This is the thing. It's easy as fuck to stop all this bullshit. Now, what are they doing right now? They're giving us bread and circus. Now, I'm going to pivot real fast. This is the thing. I'm not mad at Logan Paul. I'm not mad at Mayweather. I think that what they're doing is turning boxing into WWE. Why are they doing that? To distract the people from the real shit going on in the world. Everyone is focused on Logan Paul Mayweather fight. They're not like, ransomware? Or the FBI can't stop ransomware on the meat plants. If they can ransomware the meat plants and the gas pipelines, why can't they hack an election? See, they don't want people asking those questions. They don't want people saying things like, well, if all the experts, not the self-proclaimed experts, but if the actual experts in the field are the ones saying there's 100% proof of voter fraud, do we really need the other bullshit experts? What the fuck are they doing, right? Like, you can only change your gender so many times. I mean, at what point in time are you going to actually do cybersecurity, right? Anyways, so let me show you guys something, all right? First off, check this out. Okay, well, look, Mayweather is 150 pounds. Logan Paul is 190 pounds. Okay, he's a cruiserweight, and he just fought a welterweight. Okay, welterweight. Okay, so Canelo, who's a light middleweight, is 2 weight classes below Logan Paul. Canelo would beat the shit out of Logan Paul. All right, Mayweather can beat the shit out of Logan Paul. He didn't. He carried him. In my opinion, all of Logan Paul's fights are staged. You guys don't remember it, but in the 80s, there was that big thing where wrestling's not fake, wrestling is real. Wrestling is, and then it turned out that wrestling is fake. Well, back in the day, I was talking about catch as catch can, they used to go around, and just like there were boxing matches, they would have wrestling fights. But around the 30s or 40s, just before World War II and soon afterwards, all the wrestlers, they had an idea. What if we just staged this shit, put on a good show, and we split the prize money? There's a boxer named Bruce the Mouse Strauss who basically was doing the same thing. And what it came down to is in the 80s, the commissioners decided that there was more money in boxing to be made by taking bribes than by turning it into a show. So the WWE became wrestling fake, the show. High school wrestling, scholastic wrestling became other wrestling, and catch as catch can kind of faded away. They're trying to do that to boxing. All right? And look, I do not give a fuck. If Logan Paul wants to go fight people, he can go fight people. It's not a boxing match. He's not a boxer. He's a staged WWE fighter or whatever. If Floyd Mayweather was to fight someone who was, if Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather, even though Mayweather is so good and undefeated and all that bullshit, Canelo would beat the shit out of Mayweather just based on the weight difference. That's like 20, 30 pounds that he's got on him just based on the weight difference because they're on the same skill level. Canelo would win. Okay. The reason why Logan Paul didn't win is because he's not skilled as a boxer. He might be good as an amateur fighter. He might be good as, whatever the fuck you want to call those fights he's been doing. But again, wouldn't it be too hard to slip Ben Askren or Arskin, what the fuck his name is, $20 million for a pay-per-view and tell him to just look for a nice spot to take a dive on the second round or whatever the fuck it was, right? That's what Bruce DeMouse Strauss did. He literally would say, I give it a good shot around the second and third round and look for a good spot on the canvas and I take a nap. Staged fights, okay? Even Logan Paul himself even said it when Canelo called him out for being a pussy. Logan Paul didn't say, "Oh, I can beat you in a fight." He didn't say, "I'd outbox you." He didn't say, "I'll beat you in a street fight." He said, "I sell more pay-per-view than you do." Okay, cool. So you admit it. It's not a boxing match. It's a way to sell pay-per-view to distract the people from the real shit going on. The real shit going on is that cybersecurity is easy as fuck to secure. This is the exact same. Look, you guys have no idea. Okay, the job that I had securing the power grid, that they forced me out of and still paid me while they were forcing me out of it. Thanks for making me a millionaire. Look, there are these controls, SI10. This is specifically for input validation. Okay, there's a whole risk management framework, and they basically do it for you. So it says if you have anything software with information input validation, you want to use these kinds of controls. Okay? Timing interactions. In addressing the invalid system inputs received across protocol interfaces, timing interactions become relevant, where one protocol needs to consider the impact of the error response on the other protocols in a protocol stack. For example, 802.11 standard wireless network protocols do not interact with the transmission control What they're saying is if you use passive packet sniffing, you can find SSIDs that aren't broadcasting. Shit like that. All right? So, I mean, again, like there's a lot of shit to this. You just have to actually know it, right? Now, I have had meetings where I would go in and I would be like, guys or ladies, everyone there in the room, I'll be like, hey guys, so check it, right? We need to have this control in place because when we ran the burp suite scan, it came back with errors and vulnerabilities. So we either need to put this control in place or one of you guys, the managers, has to sign off on something that says this is an exemption or an exception that says we accept the risk and we do not want this control in place. Why is the government in charge of the power grid refusing to put in the controls and writing the exemptions and the exceptions? Literally, this is one of the controls that would have stopped the attack on the power grid, the one in the pipeline. This would have stopped the attack on the meatpacking plants. Why? Because if you sanitize the user's input, there's no way to get a shell on the web page, so you can't get a foothold, and you can't take over the API. That's what they did. That's why you secure and monitor the APIs. So that way, even if they do have a 0-day pop-off on it, you get a notification that says you no longer have control. So you will manually shut everything down and revert to your cold site or your hot site, rather. There are literally playbooks in place. More than just NIST. There's COBIT, there's ITIL, there's MITRE and all that bullshit, right? They just don't do it. They refuse to do it. Just like when zero login happened. The government had to tell all other agencies to patch it. Why, if you were in charge of a government system, would you not patch it? Are you stupid or are you in on it? If you're stupid, you shouldn't be in that job. And let's be honest, how did most of them get this job? They checked someone's email for them 20 years ago, so they became the computer guy. They don't give a shit, right? Or they're in on it, and they want it to be insecure. Like that dumb piece of shit Krebs on security, where the fuck he was. He literally allowed them to switch the votes. And he was like, well, I'm the head of the CISA.gov, so of course everything's fine. Why would I lie? Because you got paid to lie, you dumb socialist sellout. That's why. So I just want to point that out, and I'm going to leave it at that. While you all are bitching and moaning and crying over, oh, the real winner is Logan Paul. No, he's not. He's not. He should have beat the shit out of Mayweather. If he had any talent as an actual professional boxer, if he was in the same level, if he was in the same league as the dudes that these dudes beat on their first matches, he would have beat Mayweather. He's got a 40 to 50 pound weight advantage on him. There is no reason why he should have lost if he is an actual boxer. He's not. He's a stage show. Just let him be it. Go sell your tickets, but don't pretend to be something you're not. Just go ahead and cause the distractions. That way everyone else can not focus on the real shit in the world, which is our governments, our elected officials are purposefully not securing your systems that you depend on to live. If you can't get gas, it's because your government officials chose not to use NIST. It's all here for them. It's literally all you have to do is say, okay, well, what is SI-10? Okay. Wow, there's an entire checklist. Wow, okay, look at this. There's an entire checklist here. So we can just go down the entire list and say, do we have shit? Man, I don't want to go through all this bullshit right now. Bullshit. Bullshit. Oh, this fucking computer takes so fucking long to load. Anyways, I'll just link this in the description. If you want to play with it, you can play with it. But that's that. Okay, so it's easy as fuck to control, to stop the hacks. They choose not to stop the hacks, and instead they are turning boxing into fake wrestling just like they used to do. I mean, seriously. I, this was a show. This wasn't a sporting event. This was a fucking show. This was a distraction from everyone getting their shit hacked. They literally weaponized the internet while everyone was tweeting and blogging and selling their likes and tweets, and begging people for content and all that horseshit. They were weaponizing the internet. And now that they have weaponized it and are using it against you, they are distracting you with some dumb fucking kid who is selling shows, who's selling a show to all of you because it's easier than accepting the reality that you're wasting your lives. You're literally wasting your lives. They are taking automation and replacing everyone's job, and they're going to give you $1,200 if you're lucky. Unless you're in Puerto Rico, because Biden doesn't want to give Puerto Ricans money because it's not really a state. Poor AOC's abuelita. I guess she should have just taken that money everyone else raised for her, right? Bread and circus. While you all bitch about AOC and about Mayweather and Paul and all that horseshit, the government is not securing the systems. The government is using a gateway. They're using a gateway from Russia or Japan or wherever the fuck ever, or Yugoslavia, wherever the fuck it is. So the agents are posing as Russian hackers, hacking their own shit, paying themselves money, and fucking you over and wanting you to eat cicadas. You guys deserve what you get if you can't see this shit right now. There's a reason why all the millionaires who are self-made, not the trust fund babies, there's a reason why all the self-made millionaires are starting to ask questions, because they know what's up and you don't. Why is that? All right, guys, everyone have a nice day. That's my shit. Peace out.